address the press, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I've just concluded a brief but very successful meeting with the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Ruto, and with the members of our respective delegations, and I'm here to tell you briefly of its outcome. I must, at the outset, welcome warmly once again President Ruto and members of his delegation to Ghana and to Jubilee House, the seat of our nation's presidency. We thank him for graciously making this visit to Ghana and honoring us with his presence. The purpose of this visit by the Kenyan president is to reaffirm the ties of cooperation and the bonds of friendship that our two countries attach to our relations with each other, especially at this time of great turbulence in global and continental spheres. Those relations were forged in colonial times in the common struggle of our two peoples to free ourselves from the yoke of colonialism and imperialism and create the conditions for lives of dignity and freedom for ourselves. In each succeeding generation, we rededicated ourselves to strengthening the ideals and values that animated that struggle. Ghana and Kenya established diplomatic relations shortly after Kenya gained her independence in 1963 and have been active participants in regional and international fora, collaborating on issues of mutual interest such as peacekeeping, regional integration, and sustainable development. Trade and economic ties between our two nations have been growing steadily over the years, with cultural exchanges fostering a deeper understanding and appreciation of each other. We've supported each other on various international platforms, including within the United Nations, the African Union, and the Commonwealth, advocating for common positions on issues such as peace and security, climate change, and sustainable development. Overall, these relations have been characterized by mutual respect, cooperation, and a shared commitment to advancing the interests of our respective nations and the African continent as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, our deliberations centered on driving investment opportunities, domestic and foreign, into our two countries, and touched on the need for enhanced cooperation and partnership in our development efforts. I also used the opportunity of my talks with the President to express the appreciation of the Ghanaian people and their government to the government and people of Kenya for the support we received in our bid to host the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The importance of the AFCFTA should not be lost on anyone, as its successful operation has the potential to transform the economic circumstances of the continent. Just as the first leaders of our two nations, Kwame Nkrumah and Jomo Kenyatta, were united by their common determination to free our peoples from foreign domination and racist exploitation, so we are united in our determination to win the battle for rapid economic development by helping to intensify the value-adding industrial transformation of our economies, anchored on the things we make and grow. It is this transformation that will give us the best opportunity to derive maximum benefit from our abundant natural resources and from our participation in the AFCFTA, and help bring prosperity and progress to our peoples. We acknowledge the significant strides made in our bilateral relations, particularly with the agreement on visa waivers for all categories of passports, and further agreed to work assiduously to promote trade and investments, reiterating the shared determination to enhance economic cooperation and explore new avenues for trade cooperation and expansion within the framework of the AFCFTA. Indeed, the participation of Ghana, Kenya, and 6 other countries in the Guided Trade Initiative of the AFCFTA will stimulate intra-African trade, amplify our competitive advantage, and solidify our status within the global market. The GTI has enabled Ghana, for instance, to make significant inroads into the East African market, notably into Kenya and Tanzania. Over 700 AFCFTA certified products from Ghana, such as cosmetics, processed foods, beverages, coconut oil, shea butter, and garments, have been targeted at the AFCFTA market under the Guided Trade Initiative. We've also explored in greater detail possibilities of cooperation between Ghana and Kenya for the mutual benefit of our two peoples. The discussions in the areas of education, trade and industry, agriculture, defense cooperation, immigration, environment, science and technology, petroleum and hydrocarbon resources, tourism and security were held in an atmosphere of brotherly cordiality and fruitful exchanges. We also deliberated on several memoranda of understanding on various areas of cooperation between Ghana and Kenya, of which 2, namely the MOU on Binational Commission, the MOU on cooperation between the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Affairs and the Kenya School of Governance, have already been signed. The MOU between the Association of Ghana Industries and the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the MOU between the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the MOU between the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the Kenya Investment Authority are to be signed later today at the Business Forum. We expressed the hope that the implementation of these MOUs would invigorate and spearhead cooperation in various sectors between our two countries. On matters affecting the continent and on global issues, we also agreed that current circumstances demonstrate the urgent need to put back on the global agenda the demand for the reform of the United Nations, especially the composition and structure of the Security Council, on the basis of the African Common Position on UN reform, as enunciated in the Ezulwini Consensus. We also reiterated our common call for urgent rapid reform of the international monetary system to facilitate equity and fairness in the operation of the system, to enable African countries gain easier access to capital to finance their development. We also stressed on the need for Africa to take steps to address this issue on the principle of God helps those who help themselves, by calling for African countries to invest 1/3 of their sovereign reserves in African multilateral institutions such as the African Development Bank and the African Export and Import Bank, Afro-Exim Bank, in order to strengthen their balance sheets to help them mobilize more resources to finance Africa's development. This will be a better use of our resources than to allow them to lie passively in foreign banks, attracting negative interest rates, which is the present situation. This repeats the call made by Ghana at the last AU summit in Addis Ababa on 18 February 2024, which Kenya wholeheartedly supported. On the vexed matter of climate change, we restated our determination to help realize the global commitment of halving emissions by 2030 and attaining neutrality by 2050. We, however, believe that a balance must be struck and maintained between social, economic, and environmental imperatives so as not to jeopardize Africa's prospects for development. We also call on the developed nations of the world, responsible for 76% of carbon emissions, as against Africa's 4%, to honor their commitments to the developing countries of the world to assist in the fight against climate change, as agreed at both COP21 in Paris and COP26 in Glasgow. We reaffirmed our strong support for the Nairobi Declaration that emanated from the 2023 Africa Climate Summit, which elaborated Africa's perspective on the green transition. Towards the realization of the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we touched on the need to promote a more equitable world by accelerating, even at this critical juncture, the processes relating to the accomplishment of the 17 goals. I noted the long-standing and excellent tradition of cooperation between Ghana and Kenya in various international fora, including the United Nations and the Commonwealth, and expressed the desire for such cooperation to continue. I thus saw the support of President Ruto for the candidature of Ghana's dynamic Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, the Honorable Shirley Ayoko Botchwey, for the position of Secretary General of the Commonwealth at the forthcoming election for the position, to be held during the 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting Shogun in Samoa later this year in October. I indicated to President Ruto that we in Ghana continue to reinforce our commitments in international peace and security, especially in helping to end the scourge of terrorism and violent extremism on the continent. We reject wholeheartedly the recent trend of coups d'etats and unconstitutional changes in Ghana that are threatening to derail democratic gains on the continent, especially in West Africa. It is our firm belief that stable democracies can help unleash the energies of the African people to inspire the transformation of the continent, and we are thus prepared to work with Kenya to advance the cause of democracy in Africa and around the world. I wish to reassure President Ruto that Ghana will continue to collaborate with Kenya to find solutions to challenges such as the eradication of widespread poverty, elimination of irregular migration, insecurity and human rights violations, terrorism and violent extremism, human and drug trafficking, piracy, as well as climate change and its attendant negative impact on the environment and livelihoods. Mr. President, Ghana is determined to deepen her democratic governance, strengthen her institutions of accountability, and put her economy on a strong platform for rapid development. The vision remains that of a Ghana beyond aid, a self-reliant democratic Ghana that has freed herself from a mindset of dependence, aid, charity, and handouts, and is determined to make intelligent, disciplined use of her considerable resources as the basis for her growth and prosperity. In conclusion, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to President Ruto for honoring us with his visit to Ghana. Your presence, Mr. President, has deepened the bonds of friendship between our two nations and set the stage for even closer cooperation in the years ahead. As we look to the future, let us seize the opportunities that lie before us and continue to work hand in hand for the prosperity and well-being of our people. Ghana stands ready to strengthen her partnership with Kenya in pursuit of our shared aspirations for a stronger Africa and a fairer world. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I thank you very much for your attention.
A round of applause. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Mr. President. May I now respectfully invite the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, for his remarks, please.
Thank you very much.